coaches will use their timeouts. They generally won't go into the halftime without using them.
Nathan Getty had the ball right there for Sunset, a senior midfielder, primarily a defensive midi. A lot of times as a coach, when your defense
brothers who play prominently in the in their action for OES. It is the Morissette brothers, and
Yep.
for the Sunset Apollos, it is the Gallagher brothers.
It's 2 of 4 Morissettes going through OES, and the Gallaghers, just a family that has done so much for the Sunset program, organizationally and in terms of helping to get coaches in there and really, doing a great job. At OES, lacrosse is recognized as a school sport. At Sunset, it's a club sport. So, there's no support from the school administration. It's up to parents to do everything that the coaches aren't doing on the fields, and they've got a very strong group of parents stepping up and handling all that stuff.
In case you were wondering, the high school student number for OES is 314.
And for Sunset, about 2,500.
About 2,500, yeah. This is sort of like Hoosiers.
In the hotbeds of lacrosse, you wouldn't see these two schools playing each other. They wouldn't have that opportunity. I believe that is one thing great about the state of Oregon.
Right. 36 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. 1-1 our score. Sunset behind the net.
OES comes up with the ball. Nice outlet from the goalie.
Not thinking Coach Blackmore got what he wanted out of that timeout.
No, definitely should have been a lot more patient.
OES got 18 seconds up on the clock before the quarter ends.
This is one of our key matchups, Slusher on Kyle Dutman.
Slusher behind the net, looks up at the clock, sees he's got 6 seconds. Out in front, trying to get a shot away. Inside, there's a shot, and Slusher scores. With 1 second on the clock, Slusher scores.
Yeah, he did go in the crease on that, but he was pushed from behind. So that's why that goal counted. It went into the goal.
What I always tell players when I'm coaching them is that last step before you go in the crease, you want it to make a jump stop like in basketball, so you establish your feet outside the crease. If your feet are established outside the crease,
Umbrella set, they're 3-2-1. Excellent on-ball defense.
Another freshman right there, Ajax Zapatello. West Coast Stars and Legends national team player.
Sunset, I notice, is doubling very quickly. In that case, it was very effective. It's about the third or fourth time where I've seen them send a very early double, which is going to force the OES offense to move that ball through X a lot faster than they're doing.
For OES, the Morissette brothers are number 9 and number 10. Sunset with the ball. Cross midfield.
I believe Sunset's offsides. Yeah, that far side midi needs to stay back, number 35. That was his responsibility.
So an offside penalty. 7:20 left to go here, first half.
Quick restart for OES. And after scoring that goal, kind of a freshman mistake by Callum Craig right there. Looking back, missing the offsides, and then getting caught on the restart.
That goal was by number 12, Nick Lund.
And you can see how he increased his ankle. He did what the Canadians would call a little twisty pass. He had it in his right hand, which traditionally you want players on that side to have it in the left hand, but you notice how he brought it in front of his face and kind of over his left shoulder a little bit to increase that angle.
So after giving up a goal to even this up at 2-2, OES comes back 3 minutes later with a goal of their own. Nick Lund makes it 3-2. Here's the face-off.
Another win for Sunset. Callum Craig with the ground ball.
Apollo's doing a good job on face-offs.
Jacob Leonard, number 1, also a receiver for the Sunset football team. Headed to the University of Oregon.
Let you know at halftime, we'll stay here the whole halftime. We'll recap the score for you, and we'll enjoy the expertise of Paul and Dave as they comment about the first half. Apollo's with the ball on the right wing.
It's interesting. Sunset has 3 attackers behind the goal. You don't really see that. They're in what's called an open set. There's no one in the crease.
Ball loose.
Nope. We have a loose ball push on OES. Yeah, that open set really makes it difficult for the defense to send a slide. Generally, teams like to slide from the crease area. This time, however, Sunset does have a crease attackman.
There's a shot directed away.
You can see example right there how Sunset Dodger right there got to the middle of the field, and that's where you really want to get to if you're dodging for all you young players out there.
Schlendorf with a good job in goal that time. 3-2 our score. OES leads. 5:49 left to go in the first half. Ball loose. Picked up by Sunset behind the net. And OES comes up with it.
Timeout OES.
All right, we got a timeout on the field. 5:12 left to go in the first half. Our score, OES 3, Sunset 2. Seems to me like a very technical game. Both these teams are well coached, got great players. It's like a war.
You know, surprising. Both teams seem very poised. You know, a lot of possessions in the game, and when they had the opportunity to go to the goal, they took them. Would have liked Sunset That Nichols, was that Nichols that lost that ball there?
Yeah, Mike Nichols.
Mike Nichols.
Oh, no, with the stick in the air was Jacob Leonard, number
Okay.
1.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him pull that out. He kind of forced that into the defense a little bit. Tried to make a shot when he really didn't have one.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Hall, along with Dave Sanford, who is the coach at Sherwood, and Paul Vos, who I think you coached at Southridge.
I coached at Southridge for 15 years. I'm now at Aloha for the last 2 years.
All right.
I also coach my son's youth team, which are these hooligans down here on the track.
Oh, did they play today?
They played 3 games today. They won all 3.
Oh, okay.
In a pretty well-run tournament up in Delta Park, hosted by East Portland Lacrosse.
And I was at the youth tournament out in Hillsborough and Beaverton. I watched the Aloha and even OES youth play 3, 4, and 5, 6 games out there.
Awesome.
Guys, I did some games down at Western Oregon University, and boy, that's a great facility down there.
I've never been down there.
I have not either. I've sent a few players to play down at Western Oregon. All right, let's see what OES has drawn up here. They're in their 3-1-2 set again. We generally call that an umbrella set.
Each team with 1 timeout left. OES with the ball, sends it out on top.
There's just a little dummy dodge. Moved it to X.
That's Lund, and he scores again. He scored the last goal at 7:19. He scores this goal at 4:37.
Great move. He gets top side. He shoots overhand, makes the goalie move before he releases the ball. I'd like to see the Sunset defense coming together and talking about this rather than walking away from each other. Oh, all right.
So Lund scores again. Now the lead goes to 4-2. Lund with his second goal of the game.
Kyle Dute's been tapping his chest saying, I got it, that's on me.
Lund, a junior.
Being a leader.
There's the ball loose. Picked up by Sunset. Now loose again, and this time picked up by OES. That's Slusher with the ball.
Again, we'll see an example of OES being patient, or do you think they might go early?
4 minutes on the clock before halftime. I think they're going to take their time.
Is that a good idea to sit on the lead?
I think that they're a team that if you get behind to them, it becomes really difficult to play because they can be so deliberate in the way they hold the ball. And it really makes you have to value every possession. A lot of these games in the end come down to they're great players on all of probably all the top 10 teams in Oregon. A lot of what gets you here is discipline and decision making, as much if not more than it is athleticism.
Sunset coach Justin Blackmore told me the exact same thing, that what he feared the most was OES sitting on the ball.
Mm-hmm. And they can play both ways. As you've seen, they can play fast. They will go to the goal early, and sometimes they can be disciplined. So for a lot of teams, you just want to run your regular offense. And but since OES, this has been practiced over and over and over, they have the ability to slow it down.
We're under now 3 minutes with 2:57 left to go here in the first half. 4-2, OES leads. Sunset broke out on top to start this game, but since then, it's been pretty much all OES.
You can see he's trying to get top side to the middle. Defender's doing a great job on ball, keeping him out.
And now OES doing a great job of passing the ball around.
See if Sunset sends us earlier slide on this. Or they haven't been. They've been leaving their defenders out on an island.
I kind of feel like the officials have to start thinking about a keep it in call here.
Yeah.
Slusher,
a lot of time without a shot.
there was a pass in front and a shot, but Sunset comes down with the ball.
Oh, I guess maybe there was already a keep it in call.
I believe there was. I didn't see the official signal. A lot of people don't know that there is a shot clock, sort of a shot clock in high school. The referees didn't determine if a team isn't going to the goal.
That shot by OES was by Cowell, number 18. And now we got a timeout.
Yeah, I believe Sunset just called a timeout. Smart move.
That would be their final timeout of the first half. 4-2 our score. OES leads.
Yeah, it's very interesting that when OES dodges from up top, they're sending an early slide. And yet when the dodging's coming from behind, it seems like they're letting their defenders do the work and leaving them on an island by themselves.
Dave, what surprises you most here after we just about finished the first half?
I'm surprised at the way Sunset has dominated the faceoffs. You know, it says something about efficiency of your possessions. You know, when you're losing literally every face-off in the game and you're winning 4-2 with a minute left in the first half. Sunset went to a zone against Jesuit, which was really effective for them. I kind of wonder if we're going to see that from them. I think they're hesitating to slide to the attackman and to Slusher because he's such a great distributor. But you know.
How about the loss of Garrett Lewis? Has that made a big difference in this game?
I got to see Garrett Lewis, who was first-line midfielder for Sunset, who's going to Denver. I got to see him play against Jesuit, and he's a real warrior of a player. Plays both sides of the ball, you know, a really strong dodger, someone who can, you know, draw slides and free up Tillman Gallagher a lot. And really just a guy who, you know, he's not just like a flashy player who's going to score goals for you, but literally like in the middle of every ground ball, super hard worker. And I think that's a huge loss for them. Sunset's been plagued by injuries all year.
And there's a goal. Sunset's got a goal.
Wowzers. I think that's going to go to Callum Craig.
Yeah, that was just a simple feed, and it looked like I was in that bad position. It looked like that was going right to the goalie. It must have deflected off the attackman's stick and off the goalie and in, just dribbled in. Unfortunate for Slusher.
I thought Sunset was going to come down and set something up, try to get a goal here. And as they came down, it opened up right in front of their goal.
Yeah, I would bet that Coach Blackmore had something else in mind than that feed to the crease. That was ill-advised and fortunate for Sunset.
Callum Craig's second goal of the game.
They all count the same.
That is true.
4-3, and that's going to go out. Out of bounds. 4-3, OES still leads. 1:09 left to go here.
I think they're not sure who to give the ball to here.
No?
I thought that was pretty clearly off of Sunset. Doesn't look like anybody agrees with me. I think they went alternating possessions on that one. It looked like the Sunset player kicked it out of bounds.
I believe that's what I saw. I saw the official go to his pocket. That's usually where he's going to the AP.
Yeah, the near side looked at the far side, and they didn't seem to either one feel real solid about it.
1 minute to play here in the first half. 4-3 our score. OES leads.
Officials have done a great job so far managing the game, keeping things moving fast, not calling unnecessary penalties or inserting themselves into the game too much.
And we haven't had many penalties in this game.
Good officiating. If solid players on both teams, you just want to let them play. Let's see if Sunset goes to their little wing picking action. They generally go to that.
19 seconds. Nice save that time by Schlendorf. He knocked it off his foot. Long outlet pass. A And that is the end of the first half. Our score at the end of the first half, our score is OES, I'm sorry, let me make sure here. OES 4, Sunset 3.
Exciting game.
All right, we'll have a 10-minute intermission here, and then we'll come back with the start of the third quarter. But our score here at the end of the first half, 4-3 OES over Sunset. It was 2-1 OES at the end of one. Both teams with 2 goals in the second quarter. Goal scoring so far in this game, Sunset opened it up. Tillman Gallagher with the goal just 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the first quarter. That was followed up by 2 Sunset goals, one by Vernon Cowell and one by Alex Slusher. That was our score, 2-1. In the second quarter, 4 goals started off. Callum Craig got a goal for Sunset, then 2 goals by Nick Lund for OES, one at 7:19, one at 4:37, and then Callum Craig gets his second goal of the second quarter, that coming at 1:18. So Lund with 2 goals for OES, Craig with 2 goals for Sunset, 4-3 our score. Dave Sanford, the head coach at Sherwood. Dave, your thoughts about the first half?
I think that you're definitely seeing 2 teams on the field that deserve to be here. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust, who's going to take, if anybody is going to come out and take more chances on offense and defense, if anybody is going to be more conservative. You know, going through my mind, I would just be terrified to not be the last guy with the ball when this game comes down to the wire. Both teams got here in exciting fashion. OES beating West Lynn in overtime. Sunset with a 1-goal victory over Jesuit in a very interesting game, which saw a significant injury to Tucker Dordovic, one of Jesuit's best players, who is headed to play college lacrosse at Syracuse. And also with about 2 minutes left in the game, the lights in the stadium went out. With Sunset up by 3, people who were here told me the Sunset guys relaxed in that time. They kind of felt like it was over. Jesuit was being very strategic, and when the lights came back on, Jesuit put up a couple goals, and you know, it was an exciting finish. It's always scary when the lights go. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, and ever since that Super Bowl in New Orleans, I always feel like it's scary when the lights go out.
We did a game earlier this year at Delta Park, and there was lightning during the time, and you're only required to have a time delay till the lightning passes, and the teams picked the game back up, and they didn't realize that the lights at Delta Park are not manned by somebody. They're on automatic timers. And when it got to be 9:30, all the lights shut off.
And I've been through lightning delays. A couple years ago, we were in a playoff game against LO, and I think we had 2, if not 3, lightning delays, and it was quite a monumental task to keep our players focused and into it, and I believe it came down to a 1-goal game. Unfortunately, we were in the losing end that night, but it was a phenomenal game played by both sides.
Paul, your thoughts about the first half?
Well, you know, I thought Sunset's defense was playing really well. You know, I'd like to see them put a little more pressure on the attack or keep the attack away. On offense, I like Sunset seemed to go to pull the trigger a little bit too fast, and earlier in the game, they were getting to the middle of the field. They were getting to that spot where you want to get to and taking what I thought were better shots. I'd like to see them be a little more patient and be a little smarter with their shot selections.
You know, we've talked, there's so many outstanding offensive players and defensive players in this game. Sometimes it causes you to overlook the goalies. Both these goalies have been outstanding in the first half. Great saves.
They're announcing the All-State and All-American players in the stadium right now, and I have the All-American players list.
Why don't you give those
here for our listeners? There are 8 All-Americans from Oregon Lacrosse this year. The first one is Tucker Dordovic, who I was just talking about, from midfielder from Jesuit, who will be headed to Syracuse. The second is Sam Hanley, another Jesuit player, who they just announced him in the stadium right here, right now. He'll be headed to play at Penn. Alex Slusher, Tillman Gallagher, Sunset midfielder, also an All-American. Jack Schlendorf as well. Dawson Lohner, a leader of the defense on a Lake Ridge team that suffered a lot of injuries this year. Jacob Leonard, Sunset attackman, number 1. And Kyle Dutzman, the Sunset defender tasked with stopping Slusher. So when you look at the eight All-Americans and you realize that, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are playing in this game, you really see what having a few strong leaders on your team can lead you to.
And some of those players, you mentioned they're All-American players. I know Slusher is a junior. Any of those other ones are underclassmen or juniors?
Schlendorf is a junior. Slusher is a sophomore. I believe the rest are seniors.
Right, Slusher's a sophomore. I forgot about that. And Schlendorf is a junior. So the state of lacrosse in Oregon high school is certainly surging forward.
Couple other things to recognize that I've got on the email here. OHSLA Person of the Year, Commissioner Paul Schlesinger, who has done a phenomenal job transitioning into a new leadership role with Oregon High School lacrosse. The Sportsmanship Award goes to Aloha High School, where Paul is currently an assistant coach. Head Coach of the Year to Sunset's Justin Blackmore. Assistant Coach of the Year to OES's Cam Rayfish, who has been coaching at OES with Coach Sullivan for, I think it's 12 years. You really see why these teams are here, and it's great to see so many of their players recognized and receiving honors on the national scale.
I talked to Commissioner Schlesinger before we got started tonight, and he was very excited about the state of affairs for Oregon High School lacrosse. This is his second year, I believe, and he was very, very excited, very enthusiastic about where they were going. I asked him how he got the word out about Oregon high school lacrosse, and he was saying it's difficult because the other sports continue to dominate the media, but that he was trying ways to get more information. He was putting together media packets and things like that to try to get the word out more about lacrosse action.
One thing that you maybe can't recognize if you're watching this on the webcast, you see the visitor stands here at Westland Stadium behind the players' benches. Below us, the home stands are completely filled. There is not an empty seat in the house. And, pretty exciting to be in the Pacific Northwest and see high school football stadiums full for watching lacrosse championships.
I was looking down below us, and the thing that I noticed was, geez, there's a lot of purple down there.
A lot of purple down there. Earlier today in this stadium, OHSLA hosted their All-Star game, which featured players from many of the other schools. And some of those players, Thomas Mead, a senior from Corvallis, Dylan Brower, a junior from Glencoe, Ben Fuchs, a senior from Liberty, Will Swindell, a junior from Lincoln, A.J. Weichman, a senior from Summit, Eric Pence from Central Catholic, Brennan Hay from Glencoe, Quentin Pearson from LaSalle, Reese Mason from Liberty, Isaac Baker and Blake Phillips from Lincoln, Diego Balderas from Sheldon, Joey Brandt, Conrad Collins, junior LSM from Summit, who I think is going to RIT, Cesar Rojas from Central Catholic, Nico Cardone from Sheldon, Jack Husman and Cian Moreros from Summit, Jacob Bergen from Tualatin, who will be headed to Whittier, Justin Morales from West Salem, Alex Axe from Glencoe, and Nick Hoffman from Lincoln on the blue team. And on the white team, Jonas Hunter, a freshman from Lake Oswego, Nicholas Almost, a senior from Marist, Parker Remby from Sherwood, Casey Bauer from Tigard, Mitchell Johnson, and Ross Scott, attackman from West Lynn, a great combination for them this year. Logan Phillips in the midfield from Clackamas, along with Drew Perringer, midfield leader for Lake Oswego, Jonathan Williams, Tanner Reber, Sherwood's Jordan Craig, Scott Ostrom from Tigard, Zach Shelton from West Lynn, who also had an amazing year after transferring from Wilsonville, Luke Musgrave, Jake Marcus, Jesuits Jake Thoreau, Sean Scadden, Sam Criscola, Alex Hinson, Tyler Cancelosi, Dawson Lower, Jesuit goalie Beckley Groh, and Marcus McCoy rounding out that list in today's All-Star game.
I managed to catch the last 2 quarters of that game, and I believe the blue team, which is made up, I think, of local kids, won that game 13-12. Very exciting.
Wow. So getting after it. Yeah, I think that there was Lincoln coach Will Harris was in charge of putting that game together and did a great job with it. And I think that he was trying to make sure the kids from the same teams were on the same teams. But I don't know that there was necessarily beyond that a ton of rhyme or reason as to how they split it up. But it sounds like he did a great job of making it even, and super fun to see people getting after it.
You know, I do a lot of different sports. I pretty much cover all the sports. And what impresses me about Oregon high school sports is how many good coaches there are. I've always been impressed with how many coaches are number one, they got outstanding sports minds, but number two, they relate so well with the kids that they're coaching. Do you find that to be the case in lacrosse?
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing. When we were growing up, you know, coaches were the PE teacher, and yes,
Right.
they had a lot of them had education degrees. But the state of education, I teach 4th grade, and the programs that I went through to become a teacher were very impressive. And I'm also part of U.S. Lacrosse. I'm one of the coaching training in the local area where I train coaches. And the programs that they're putting together are so much more comprehensive these days. And Positive Coaching Alliance, you know, they're doing an amazing job, you know, really trying to be mentors to your student athletes. And not only just the X's and O's, but, you know, the PCA talks about, yes, we finally acknowledge winning is the number one goal, right? That's why,
Right.
Right. We got to be honest about that. But number two, it's about life lessons. And, you know, that you're a mentor. For some of these kids, you're a father figure, you know, and that's really important. That's why I got into coaching myself, because I had those role models in my life. You know, my stepfather and my birth father were both coaches, and I saw the impact that they had. And the coaches, as you said, in Oregon, you know, really do a great job of keeping their certifications up to date, you know, and making sure that they're professionals at what they do. And a lot of people don't realize the amount of training and clinics and online study that we have to do to become the coaches, not only to be certified, because we want to be good coaches.
Exactly. All right, both teams back out on the field as we're getting ready to start the third quarter. Our score right now, OES 4, Sunset 3. Third quarter, Apollos will move from our right to our left. OES, we're in the blue, will move from our left to our right. And so far, these faceoffs have been controlled by Sunset. This time, OES comes up with it. Forward, there's a shot deflected.
That's a big save. He's real good on the faceoffs, just winning forward. Tim Malug, number 4 for OES, winning forward, coming down and scoring. And Travis Hemstreet with a big save to start the second half.
It was a low shot towards the corner there in the net and deflected by Hemstreet. Nice job. OES with the ball and the lead, 4-3.
Yeah, let's see what Coach Sullivan and Coach Rayfish have drawn up for them in offense, where they can be patient or go right to the goal.
Assistant Coach Rayfish, you mentioned, voted the Assistant Coach of the Year. Coach Blackmore for Sunset voted the high school head coach of the year. We've got not only great players on the field, we've got great coaches on the field.
Yeah, Justin Blackmore played at Lake Ridge, and I had the pleasure of coaching him for a year on Team Oregon. And he also played at Oregon under Joe Kerwin, also a very, very good storied coach in Oregon lacrosse.
And, of course, OES won the state championship in 2009 under Coach Sullivan.
Yep, and Andrew Parker, who's also on the staff, was the goalie that year.
There's a shot, and there's a score. OES with a goal. That's by Slusher, I believe.
Low to high rip. You know, they change planes. That's what good shooters do. He went low. Goalie has a tendency to drop, and he stuck that in the top left corner, I believe.
I think the thing you have to realize if you're Sunset, when Slusher's going to shoot right out of the turn like that, it's really hard for Hemstreet to see his stick. When his back turns to the field, you've got to double. At that time, he's got to turn into a slide. Otherwise, those shots are going to cause trouble for the Apollos.
Each quarter so far, there's been a goal scored in the first minute and a half of the quarter. There's the face-off. OES comes up with it. As they come forward, they lead now 5-3.
Real change in the tide on the face-offs. Wonder if that has anything to do with fitness, with Wiley having been out with an injury for much of the latter part of the season. A lot of the Fogos, the guys who face off and get off the field quickly afterwards, their overall minutes on the field definitely not the highest, but it's an incredibly specialized craft of what they do. And those guys literally have to be the toughest guys on the field.
What did you call them?
Fogos.
Face off, get off?
Yep.
Okay.
Face off specialists.
And it takes a lot of energy to face off. You're exhausted after a face off. You have to be in phenomenal shape.
Slusher with the ball. Great moves, moving in. Yeah. There's a shot. Great save by Hemstreet.
Now, there's no over and back on that call because on a shot, that's waved off.
Slusher wound up again that time, and Hemstreet had him zeroed in.
This could be an opportunity for Sunset.
Comes Sunset forward. There's a shot blocked by Schlendorf. Wow, we've seen two great goalie saves there in 30 seconds.
Yeah, he ran a little far to the goal that time. I would like to have seen him bring that right in front of the goalie and have a more opportunity, more space to shoot at the net. Sunset in their 3-1-2 formation again.
For OES, Slusher and Lund now each with 2 goals.
Although in Baltimore, I believe that you'd call that a 2-1-3.
We count from the top.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
All right. Maybe that's Long Island.
Yes.
They do things strangely there.
They do.
Sunset with the ball behind the net. Forward tried to shovel it in past Schlendorf. Schlendorf saved it.
Shot made famous by the Thompson brothers. Not the first to do it, but they definitely made that a staple of the game for attackmen.
I'm always telling kids when they do that, when you make that shot, a good goalie is just in position. So he doesn't even have to see the release. That ball's going to hit him. You got to get low, snap your wrists hard enough to change planes if you're going to try shots like that and want to have success.
And you're exactly right on that, because that example, that's exactly what he did, is he hit the goalie instead of pulling that far side like he probably should have. Or wait till he got a little higher in the, above the goal line extended.
Because Schlendorf basically didn't have to move then, did he?
No, he did not.
Here's an interesting matchup. Slusher on Tillman Gallagher. Doubles coming quickly from Ajax Zapatello. Pass to the backside and a step down. Hemstreet again.
Hemstreet, a couple of great saves.
I did like that shot by Vernon Cole. Nice overhand release. He kept high on that. High to low. Goalie did make a very nice save.
Slusher then tried to jump and shoot. Ball went wide.
I got to say right now I'm feeling like Travis Hemstreet is the guy who should have been on the All-State list who got left off. Definitely playing like an All-State caliber goalie here.
He's feeling like he's under assault. OES with the ball in the lead, 5-3.
You know, that seems to happen every year where you have that player, that unsung hero who has to step up. That happens at the D1 level, D3 level. You heard about it in the championship game. You know, players come to play. You know, we know who the names are. It's who is not the unknown. Who's going to step up and do it for their team. Looks like they're about to send an early slide.
There's a shot and a score. And that's Slusher again.
So what they need to do, though, with an attackman like that, they're sliding in the direction he's going. He's seeing the slide come there, changing direction and coming back the other way. He's got two defenders committed in the direction he's running away from. Sunset needs to turn him first and then turn him into the slide.
That's a hat trick for Alex Slusher.
You know, that's definitely, you know, say with the any attackman or midfielder, you want to drive, you want to stay in between those hash marks, and Slusher did a great job of baiting the defense down that alley, and he rolled back to the inside where he increased his angle tremendously, and he also changed planes on his shot. He did everything that a great shooter does.
6-3 our score now. OES leads.
Violation on Sunset. I have no idea what it was.
Most likely it was a hold. That seems officials have been calling that quite a bit this year.
Sunset student section does not appear to agree with that call.
OES with the ball and the lead. 6:15 left to go here. Third quarter. Boys Lacrosse State Championship. OHSLA.
Let's get to the important details. What do you guys think of the soccer chants going on from the lacrosse fans right now?
Small contingent of very rowdy OES fans.
We literally had competing Timbers Army cheers going right there.
You're definitely a lot more familiar with the Timbers chants than I am.
There's a shot wide.
Like that little jump shot. I've always been a fan of that jump shot down the alley. Goalie has a hard time reading those. Nice placement. Aim small, miss big.
OES comes back with the ball. That's Slusher there in the middle.
Henry Morris that down the alley, draws the slide through X, back up top.
Slusher
Big
got
step down. Wide.
Cowell on the shot again. I really like how he shoots. He does a great job of keeping his stick up. He stepped into that. Nice step down shot.
Excellent at finding space off ball.
Yeah, the OES players are very good shooters. They're either usually putting it in the goal or missing just wide. You don't see him hitting the goalie too often. Goalie usually has to make an amazing save.
Slusher to the backside shot.
Nice block that time by Hemstreet. Hemstreet, the Apollo goalie, has some great saves here in this game, but the Apollos trail 6-3.
Feels like it's been a while since Sunset played offense.
I was just going to say that. We'll wait and see if they're patient. You want to let everyone get a touch on this so they feel part of the offense. You haven't touched the ball in the way you usually get pretty antsy, and you feel like you have to, especially being down by this many, sometimes you tend to step up and players do too much, and they should just trust in the system and trust in each other.
Apollos with the ball on the top. 4 minutes left to go here in the third.
Looks like they're going to go with Callum Craig on Vernon Cowell right here.
Excellent defense. You can see him riding him outside those hash marks. Ooh, nice.
In front, there's a shot, and there's a score.
If Tillman Gallagher can keep getting that shot, Sunset will win this game.
Yeah.
Low to low from the outside. That's his bread and butter. Great ball movement, sets it up. Purple side of the stadium's making a lot of noise all of a sudden.
Gallagher, Tillman Gallagher now with 2 goals in the game. He had the first goal of the game at 9:50 left in the first quarter and scores now with 3:38 left in the third. There's the face-off.
Yeah, they got the OES defense watching the ball. That backside opened up. Could have driven a truck through that alley that opened up. He had a great look at the goal, took advantage of it.
Sunset comes back. That's Gallagher, Tillman Gallagher. Shoot, blocked. And there's a flag.
There's a flag.
First one of the game, I believe.
It is the first one of the game.
Big hit that time.
You used to see those hits quite often all the time, which in the olden days weren't called, but the game is changing.
All of the moments of pauses in this broadcast are from moments where Coach Vos and I took those hits 30 years ago and have trouble remembering things today.
Yeah, I didn't see too many of my goals because I was usually on my back. And there wasn't a whole lot of video back in the day.
Then you ran to the sideline and the coach sent you back in. Now you run to the sideline, you got to go through concussion protocol.
Yeah, that's true. Or often you just stayed in the game. Yeah, that was definitely a high hit. It looked like he had the shoulder and neck head injury areas. And, you know, officials will be first to protect players. That's what we're here for. You know, have fun. We want to keep the hitting in the game, but you got to keep players safe. That was just a little bit too high. You really, defenders now, you really got to get low and use your shoulder. Any extension of the hands to the head and neck area, automatic flag. And I wouldn't doubt if that was unreleasable. Did you see the single thing?
I'm not sure what they call it. I would imagine that they could have used the defensive player call to put him in there for a bit. You know, defensively, the best thing that you can do to avoid putting yourself in that situation, every time you've heard your coach tell you to break down and sit in the chair, if you break down and you get low, it's a lot higher for your hit to be high.
So we have a Sunset player off the field, and it's for how long?
We're not sure.
Because he's over there in the penalty area.
Yeah, that's a big turnover there from Sunset.
It's at the referee's discretion, anywhere from 1 minute to 3 minutes. Generally, a game like this, I would bet that it'd be a 1 minute penalty, but that was a pretty big hit.
6-4 our score. OES leads. 2:42 left to go here in the third quarter. OES with the ball and the lead. They're up a player. There's Slusher with a shot. Gets it back, shoots again, and scores. Fourth goal of the game for Alex Slusher. In fact, he has a hat trick all by himself in the third quarter.
Well, good players come to play, and he's definitely stepped it up. That was an awesome opportunity. And we tell players, you know, get the ball in and out of your stick as quick as you can. He picked that one right up off that rebound, immediately knowing the goalie was out of position. Took that shot from our angle. That was a very, very nice shot.
7-4 OES leads. Face-up coming up. Slusher with 4 goals.
Hemstreet really frustrated, slamming his stick on the goalposts. Has really done a lot to keep his team in this game. Really important to keep your head.
Here comes OES inside. There's a shot and a score. Wow.
That's what I was talking about in the open with Tim Malug.
Now we'll see the mental toughness of the Sunset Apollos. You know, after I wouldn't doubt Coach Blackmore might want to call a timeout, kind of get his team settled down and his defense organized.
Tim Malek covers the face-offs. That goal was coming 7 seconds after the previous goal.
Wow.
Well, he has multiple techniques on his face-off. Sometimes he'll draw it to himself, he'll do the pinch and pop. That time you saw him do the pinch and pop, he just tried it again. Pop that ball out in front and get a fast break. A little push from behind on OES.
Here come the Apollos.
Very important possession. Got to let everybody get a touch. Got to get into your offense. Do what you've been doing all season long.
By the way, the team's at equal strength.
So it looks like that was a 1 minute penalty.
Yeah.
1:56 left to go here in the third. Apollos with the ball. They trail by 4, 8-4. A shot wide.
Back up Sunset.
Freshman Calder Gallagher on the restart. Jacob Leonard at X now. He's looking to go.
Out on top. Crowd right below us chanting sunset.
I like what I was seeing. They were being patient. I did not like that shot. He was just outside the hash marks at a very severe angle. He really needs to move that ball through X.
There's a shot. Schlendorf doing a good job of distracting the shooters.
Yeah, he's doing what we call staying big. He's making himself bigger in the goal.
There's a struggle in front of the net. Schlendorf falls on the ball as it trickles out.
Anthony Hay going to the goal there for Sunset. His older brother Charlie was a phenomenal LSM at Sunset. He's at Oregon State now.
He's one of the best LSMs that I've seen come out of the state of Oregon.
We've had 5 goals here in the third. We're down to 33 seconds. OES with the ball.
I think we're going to see OES be a little patient on this one. You know, this is where, again, they have the advantage where they can play fast or play slow.
That's Slusher with the ball, trotting down the right side. Looks up at the clock, 16 seconds.
Here guarded by freshman Ajax Zapatello. You see
Slusher.
Sunset ignores the pick. They've lost the picker. He's wide open on the backside.
That was a good block that time by Hemstreet. Deflects
5
it.
seconds.
Clock running. There it is. That's the end of the third. The third quarter is over. Our score here after 3. Oregon Episcopal Schools 8, Sunset 4.
OES 8, Sunset 4.
So OES outscores Sunset in the third quarter 4-1. 3 of those goals coming from Alex Slusher, one by Tim Malug.
If you're listening to the broadcast and you want to say hi, reach out to us on Twitter. Just tag OHSLA and hashtag Oregon Sports Beat. Always be good to hear from you. We've gotten some texts that have been pretty fun coming in. A great game here. I'll remind you folks, 4 goals in a lacrosse game, 12 minutes left. Really anybody's game. Face-offs, all Sunset in the first half, all OES in the third quarter. What kind of adjustments does Sunset make to get those going back in their favor? Winning those face-offs key to getting back in this game.
Yeah, and I'd like to see them go back to their offense. They do a great job. They have those 3 middies up top, and they usually, they do those little down picks on the wings and get it to that backside and move the ball. They seem to have gone away from that. The player, they just need to relax, and they need to do what they've been doing all season, what I watched them do when we played them, and they ran a very efficient offense. You see some ill-advised shots by some of their players. I'd like to see them just be a little more patient, try to get that ball to the backside, stay in between those hash marks before they take those shots.
Up until that quarter, if I had to look and pick an outstanding player, there were a number of people that were in my consideration at halftime, though. Alex Slusher was not one of those. But with 3 goals there in the third quarter himself, I'd have to say so far he's the difference maker in this game.
Yeah, he's definitely stepped it up. You can tell just from his body language that he was almost just being patient. And sometimes players will do that. They're like, you're the big name, and you want to kind of lull the defense into sleep. You play that little cat and mouse game. And it seems like he waited just to the right moment before he stepped up and turned up the volume a little bit. And he's poured it on here in the second half. I'm very impressed.
Slusher with 4 goals in the game. Nick Lund with 2. Vernon Cowell with 1. And Tim Malug with 1, and that's the 8 goals for OES. There's the face-off.
In the semifinals, Sunset's first 5 goals were scored by 5 different players. That could have been a flag. There it is.
That will be a flag.
Ball hit the ground.
OES offsides. Slusher trying to debate it. He fell over the line. Or one of the attackmen fell over the line. There's really no way around that. See if Sunset can capitalize.
Yeah, the name of the game is patience. They've got very good shooters up top. They want to make sure that they get the defense rotating to one side, hit that backside for that step-down shot.
attackmen up front for OES. There is Slusher and Morissette and Cowell. Sunset with the ball behind the net.
Sunset started in the open set, sending cutters through the middle.
There's a shot wide right.
You can see how he took that shot outside the hash marks, and at least they had the backup on that one. But again, they want to stay in between those hash marks to really have those effective high percentage shots.
We're in the final quarter, 11 minutes left to go in this game. OES leads 8-4, and there's a goal.
Calder Gallagher, his first of the day. He's a pretty exceptional young man. He does a ton of training with the Sunset youth kids. Has them up at his house training in the backyard all the time. Can be a real emotional spark for this team if, as a freshman, if he can get things going here, he can get Sunset back in the game. Real big face-off with 11 minutes to go. Sunset trailing by 3.
Dave, you mentioned the 4-goal lead wasn't safe.
Oh, they can come in runs.
Sunset got one of them back.
That's got to be withholding on
OES.
Yep, withholding on OES. So what the call is there, if you clamp on the ball at the face-off, you have to try and get it out in one motion. You can't hold it. He sat on the ball. Possession to Sunset. Mike Nichols back in the game at attack for Sunset, along with Jacob Leonard and Calder Gallagher. Leonard with the ball right now. Pulls on Callum Craig and Tolman Gallagher.
There was a rush that time at the net. Shot was wide. Paulo's still with the ball, send it out on top.
It's a nice little wing dodge. He has the option to use that pick and go top side or go underneath. That time he chose to go underneath. Low angle shot, but they got the backup.
Great ball movement from Sunset right now.
Behind the net. There's a shot. Blocked.
Bennett Greenbaum gets his own rebound. A big save by Schlendorf.
Schlendorf with the ball behind the net. Comes out and dishes it off on the right wing. But a big save by Jack Schlendorf. Paulo's come up with the ball and right back across midfield.
Sunset working hard on that ride, pays off.
Okay, 8-5 our score.
Sunset back in their circle offense. Got to be a point in the game where fatigue can become a factor.
The freshman with the ball, Colin Craig. He has 2 goals in the game.
Colin 3.
Great goal. You got his defender to bite down low. He went top side. Got to that magic area in between the hash marks. Nice overhand rip low. Had the goalie up high. Great shot.
Well, Sunset has got half of the lead back here in just 3.5 minutes.
We love freshmen, the chant from the Sunset fans.
And Craig now with a hat trick.
Momentum is definitely shifting. See if OES can keep it together and hold off this run.
Oh, why didn't he just pick it up? Nick Wiley almost had the face-off, but doesn't get it. OES trying to get it into the box.
Yeah, you always want your player to drive through that ball and pick that up. Those little flick plays are usually ill-advised unless somebody's wide open.
Slusher on the right wing. OES leads by 2 with 8:15 left to go in this game. 8-6 our score.
Tillman Gallagher and Andrew Meyer in as the defensive middies for Sunset. Vernon Cowell, Abe Harris, and Aiden White in at midfield for OES.
OES behind the net. Slusher with the ball. He has 4 goals in the game.
Here's that patient OES offense. Really just waiting to find their good shot.
There was a shot by Cowell.
I believe that was a possession shot. He missed that quite high. That was also to stave off the referees calling a shot clock, which in high school is a little different than at the NCAA level. Whereas the high school, I believe, needs to keep it inside the offensive restraining area.
I think Lacrosse could use a shot clock at all levels.
Slusher a shot.
Completely agree.
I'll be honest with you. In the Sunset 5-6 select game today, in our last game, we could only give up 3 goals to get a bye in the first round of the Sunday knockout round. And we held the ball for 10 minutes because all these kids are down here in the front row on the field cheering on their heroes. And they're not getting to sleep early tonight. Didn't want them to have to play super early tomorrow. We literally held the ball for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
That's not lacrosse, in my opinion.
You know,
but that's the we blame when
we went to the hoop and we kept drawing fouls.
Yes.
Basketball got the sense to do away with that.
Yeah.
That play beforehand, the OES player did a great job on the end line of getting there and saving it and picking that ground ball up, out hustled.
And right now, OES is in fact sitting on the ball. There's
inside.
Inside.
Look to the backside.
Oh,
crease. It's a big call. Coach, I'm gonna blame that on the system, which encourages us to hold the ball for 10 minutes there.
Hey, I completely agree. You and anybody else knows I will use the rules the way they were designed, and until they change them, that's the way it is.
OES had a play set up there. They had a man standing right at the side of the net but missed that play.
Where'd they go?
Offside, but I do not.
Sunset.
I believe I thought Sunset had somebody on side at near the bench area. I guess he was offsides. I thought they had someone back. You saw the player jump back on this side of the field, the stand side. But I looked over on the far side, and there was somebody standing there.
OES with the ball. 5:35 left to go in this game. 8-6 our score. It was 8-4 at the end of 3.
Timeout, OES.
Smart timeout.
OES with a timeout.
At what point do you think Sunset has to start changing up their defense a little bit? Maybe sending an early slide, double teaming?
I would be pretty sure that at this point, OES is not going to attack until they have to. That said, if you're Sunset, you just have to be conscious of the fact that OES wants to, force you to get that second slide down to the backside, that's where they're looking to distribute the ball, and you just have to be prepared, and everybody has to be on the same page and do it as a team. A lot of times, by the end of the season, kids are bored practicing stuff when they're doing things over and over and over again, and getting that slide package right, you practice it over and over again so that in this situation it works and it's going to get you the ball back instead of giving up the last goal.
And that's the name of the game, is which team can be more disciplined. Whether it's OES on offense, which we've seen lots of examples where they were very patient and very disciplined. And now we can see whether Sunset can play that team defense game. That's where you usually have breakdowns, is that one guy will slide and the others will stand there looking, where you really need all 6 players working together.
Have either one of you heard whether West Lynn won the baseball game today? They were playing for the state championship against Corvallis. down at Salem Kaiser Field?
Don't know.
I do know that there was a no-hitter in Major League Baseball today.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Edison Volquez, who pitches for the Miami Marlins, threw a no-hitter.
It's a great baseball name.
Yes. All right,
Ooh.
Sunset's going black.
Well, look,
Ajax Zapatello, freshman, strips the ball right away. Great play out of the timeout.
Here come the Apollos.
Yep. Back up the field. They're on sides this time. 3 guys staying back to make sure.
Apollos behind the net.
Two-goal game, 5 minutes left.
In front, a shot, blocked. Ball loose in front, picked up by OES. Here comes Cowell. Cowell across midfield, down the left side, looks for help.
Wild scrum for the ball.
Slusher comes out with it.
Yep, failure to advance. Once crossing the midfield, OES has 10 seconds to get that in the offensive restraining area, and they failed to do that. Sunset did a great job on the ride. Let's see if Sunset can be a little more patient. I did not like that lost offensive possession. I thought during the timeout that they would talk about just being a little more patient and letting the game come to them instead of forcing the ball.
Apollos with the ball, down by 2.
Some of that definitely can be attributed to the OES defense.
Got him hung up here.
Timeout. I believe that's exactly what Coach Blackmore is going to talk to them about.
Yeah.
Timeout on the field, 3:48 left to go in the game. Our score, OES 8, Sunset 6. Timeout.
Was he hung up or was OES running a zone?
Good question.
With the short time being the way it is, being up by 2 goals, that's a strategy that many coaches will employ.
They had been putting a short stick on Nichols for much of the game, which is where I imagine, but they may have just gone to a zone right there. It would be a great strategy.
Well, we'll see on this timeout, after this timeout, whether OES has come out in that. You'll generally see a team like Sunset dodge, and if the player doesn't go with them, then you pretty much know they're in a zone. If that is true, then Coach Blackmore, seeing that, would have called a timeout to set up his zone offense to beat the zone defense. And here what it will do is he'll actually call 2 different plays. He'll call one for man-to-man and one also to beat the zone. A lot of times, generally, you can just simply run your man-up offense against the zone defense. Sometimes it'll be successful.
I don't think the scoreboard is right on the timeouts left. I think each team has 1 timeout left.
I think you're right.
So OES back out on the field. Apollo's still talking.
That's what I was saying earlier. That's probably why this is taking a lot longer for Sunset, because OES has their plan. They have one plan, go in there, execute, whereas Sunset will have to possibly come up with 2 different options. But they're going to have their 6 best offensive players out there to execute whatever Coach Blackmore draws up. The referees also huddle up for their game plan as well, just to make sure they all have their ducks in a row. Make sure they're calling the end of this game the way it needs to be called.
And they've done a great job tonight.
They have. Well, these are very Dave and I are both very familiar with these officials, and they are some of the best officials in the state.
All right, we're back underway. Apollo's with the ball and down by 2.
Again, double pulling the midfield.
There's a shot deflected by Schlendorf.
Bennett Greenbaum hanging his head after that one.
Apollo's still with the ball behind the net. Come forward. Still behind the net, send it out. And OES ball loose on the ground, a fight for it.
Sunset missed an opportunity on that one. He was wide open on the crease. Again, he tried to place it to his stick instead of to his head.
Hard shot, a great save by Schlendorf. We're under 3 minutes, 2:52 left.
He did not change levels on that shot, high to high, easy save.
Schlendorf just stuck his stick up and snagged it.
I think you could have put most goalies in on that one.
Here comes OES in on the goal. In front, a shot blocked by Hemstreet, deflected.
Ooh.
Close call. Flusher didn't make that easy by not hustling to the end line.
Hemstreet talking to his defenders in front of him. OES now with the ball out on top. They're going to throw it around. They're going to spend as much time as they can.
They're going to have to keep it in the box in 5 seconds here.
In front, there's a shot, and there's a goal. Is that Cowell who scored? I think it was 18, Vernon Cowell.
I think it's actually Nick Lund.
Nick Lund?
Which would be his third of the game.
Lund now with a hat trick.
Three-goal game, 2 minutes to go.
Very important face-off right here. Sunset needs to come up with this.
2:02 left to go. Here's the face-off. OES comes down with it, now picked back up. OES gets it back.
I think you'll see a timeout here once they establish possession inside the restraining area.
Back behind the net, OES.
Yep, goalie's out of the goal. They're going to, timeout.
Here's your timeout.
1:41 left to go. 9-6 our score. OES leads. OES last won this championship in 2009. Sunset has never won the championship.
There were several years where Sunset and Lincoln had these great epic battles. I want to say 3, maybe 4 years in a row in the state finals.
3 years in a row it was.
And it's been a minute for them since they've gotten back here since then. What happens on this next play really kind of determines, where we go next in this game. Either way, so many great young players on the field here. Both of these teams be reloading real nicely next year. A lot of young talent all across the OHSLA, actually.
Yeah, Craig with a hat trick, Slusher with 4 goals. Craig is a freshman, Slusher's a sophomore.
And you can attribute that to both youth programs. I mean, both the Sunset and Lincoln youth programs, not only do they have a lot of numbers, but they have a lot of their alumni coming back to coach. And they do have experience. That's the name of the game, is how do you get that experience coaching and that organization down to the youth level? And you can see the product of that in not only these two programs, but many of the programs that are in the top 10. You look for Sunset right here to go to that same strategy that they employed right at the end of that, right before that timeout. You can look to have probably double pull the ball. You'll have the goalie out on probably their slowest player.
I think all 314 students from OES are lining the track right now.
They are.
Yeah, look for Slesser, who starts with the ball, to go one direction, try to split this double. And if he gets in trouble, he will try to throw it in the direction of the goalie, generally behind the goal, hoping that your attack player is a better athlete than their goalie.
Hemstreet out of the goal. In fact, he's behind the goal now.
Got the turnover.
The turnover, and Sunset will have the ball. Here they come forward. They don't have any time to waste. Up the right side.
Timeout, Sunset Apollos. They had a long pull crossover. But with little time remaining, they need to make sure they have the right personnel on the field. Make sure they have their best offensive players and know that they know how to execute the offense the way that they're supposed to make up these goals.
I believe that's their last time out. 9-6 our score. OES leads. 1:21 left to go. What do the Apollos do here in the last 81 seconds?
I think you want to initiate with your attack. You want to use a screen off ball to try and free up Tillman Gallagher, your best player, to try and get him the shot that he is most well known for. I think that's where you're going to find success. When we're going straight to the goal and trying to finish off of our dodge, Sunset's been challenged to score. One of the things with Schlendorf, you got to get him moving side to side or be shooting when he's not set to attack the ball, or he's really hard to score on.
You know, these OES students down here are not down here for not any reason. They're going to charge the field.
Yeah.
All 315 of them.
There might be all 315 of them down there.
Between the lower school and the upper school, I know there's more students than that, but
Callum Craig starts with the ball. We go behind to Calder Gallagher.
Clock running, 1:12. Gonna have to get some shots off quickly. Great defense.
Tillman doubled, he gets his hands free. Big save by Schlendorf.
backside's open if they see it.
Clock under a minute, 56 seconds inside. There's a shot, and Schlendorf just deflected it.
Great patience on that shot. Many young players will take that and shoot it immediately.
43 seconds.
Jacob Leonard just went and grabbed that ball from Chop on the end line and said, "Let me take it," and lost it right after.
And out of bounds.
Now it's some kind of a push on Sunset. OES possession, 35 seconds, 3 goals.
It's a bit of a strange call.
Must have been something away from the ball that we would not see. Maybe it was goalie interference because they're moving it up to midfield now. Although then you would restart on the X. So I think
clock has not started.
They're going to talk about it now. Make sure the refs get it right. They're figuring out where the restart's going to go.
Now they move it back where they originally were.
TJ Veld making sure that we're doing things the right way there.
In a game of this magnitude, you see Sunset going their 10-man ride. They got the goalie out of the cage, guarding an attackman, a double on the ball.
That's Morissette. Picks the ball back up. Here he comes forward. Morissette. Quickly across midfield. Morissette still with the ball.
Senior captain.
Back behind the net, 17 seconds. OES behind the net, clock running.
Looks like Sunset's just conceding.
Yep.
And they're just going to let OES run this one out. 1 second, it's over. And there goes the OES fans out onto the field. OES wins this game 9-6.
Great effort from both teams. Very hard-fought game.
All right, let me recap the scoring for the teams in this game. First quarter, it was OES 2-1. OES outscored Sunset 4-3 in the. Or I'm sorry, both teams scored 2 goals in the second. It was 4-3 at halftime. Big third quarter for OES. They outscored Sunset 4-1. It was 8-4 at the end of 3. And in the last quarter, Sunset 2, OES 1. Final score in this game, OES 9, Sunset 6. I'll give you the individual goal scorers. In the first quarter, it was Tillman Gallagher for Sunset, then a goal by Vernon Cowell for OES, and Alex Swisher for OES. In the second, 2 goals for Callum Craig for Sunset, 2 goals for Nick Lund for OES. In the third quarter, 3 goals by Alex Slusher for OES, a goal by Tillman Gallagher for Sunset, and a goal by Tim Malug of OES. And then in the last quarter, Sunset got 2 goals to start the quarter, one by Calder Gallagher and one by Coleman Craig. Craig there, that was a hat trick for him. And then finally, the last goal of the game coming with 2:02 left to go in the game, and that was a goal by Nick Lund, a hat trick for him for OES to get our final score to 9-6. All right, Dave Sanford, head coach at Sherwood High School, comments for the game.
I think our star players put on great efforts, for both teams. I think what can really be the difference, is your X factors. Great game for Nick Lund, a great game for Callum Craig. But really, I think the difference in this game is Slusher taking over the third quarter, and really putting OES in a position to just manage the clock for the rest of the game. I love the sportsmanship of the Sunset fans still cheering their team on despite the defeat. You see their fans making their way onto the field right now. The teams are trying to get their handshake on, and a great event. You can as you see more people coming onto the field, get an idea of the scope of the event and how many people were here watching this game. And for the kids watching, hopefully it motivates them to see what a great experience this is for these high school boys, and motivates them to keep working hard and, set their goals on playing here one day.
All right, Paul Vos, your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think both teams were very well coached. It's always exciting and fun to watch very good players who are coached very well play the Creators game. It's a beautiful game to watch. I was very impressed with the OES offense, and that they were both quick strike, and they were also very patient and very disciplined. I think that's what it came down to. I believe it was also the play of goalie Jack Schillendorf, who's going to Michigan, and it's obvious why he was All-American and why Coach Sullivan believes, and rightly so, that he could be the best goalie in the state, at least from what I've seen here today. I think it was just a matter of the OES defense OES offense outplayed the Sunset defense.
I saw a number of super players on both teams in this game, but if I had to select an MVP, I'd select Slusher, whose 3 goals in the third quarter alone changed the tide of this game.
Yeah, and it's called execution. He executed where, he made sure he got topside. He made sure he had his stick hidden. He changed planes on his shots. He executed much better than the other stars of the game.
The other big difference in the third quarter, though, has to be Tim Malug on the face-off X for OES. The goal he scored straight from X was huge, and his face-off wins giving OES a significant advantage in time of possession, allowing Slusher to make those goals happen.
All right, Dave, thanks for joining us tonight. Your final comments before we get out of here?
Final comments. I've kind of said for a while that I thought OES was the best team in OHSLA, and I think in a great competitive year with a lot of upsets, I think the best team won. I think it's really exciting to see a small school be able to compete with these giant 6A schools, and I'm sure there's a lot of people already thinking about next year here.
All right, and Paul, your final comments?
I will wholeheartedly concur. This is a great game. As the season went on, like you said, there were lots of upsets, and that's why you play the game. On paper it might be one way, and I do agree the best team won. I've seen most of the better teams in the state play, and OES by far was the most disciplined. All teams are well coached, but obviously OES also very well coached.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us for this broadcast. Your expertise made this game very exciting, and your knowledge lended to a great job on the broadcast.
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate the opportunity.
It was
an honor to be here.
It was our pleasure. All right, we've got a number of people we need to thank for this. The people in the athletic department here at Wesleyan High School for their assistance before we started. I want to thank both head coaches, Dennis Sullivan, the head coach at Champion Oregon Episcopal Schools, and Justin Blackman, the head coach of the Sunset Apollos. Also, the Commissioner Schlesinger of the OHSLA, the Oregon High School Lacrosse Association for his help before we got this broadcast on the way. Our crew tonight, we have Ryan Johnson, our producer, who's been on the camera. Down in the last booth is our director, Jim Thompson. Alva Myers here running the board for us. Alva, have I left out anybody? I think that's everybody. And, of course, I mentioned our producer, Ryan Johnson. It's been a pleasure bringing you lacrosse this season. We've just started this season, and Oregon Sports Beat covers a lot of sports, a lot of high school sports. We're your leader in high school sports, and we certainly enjoyed a season of bringing you boys and girls lacrosse. So I'm Dave Hall for Oregon Sports Beat. We're going to get out of here. Our final score from West Lynn High School in the boys state lacrosse champion. It is OES 9, Sunset 6. Good night, everybody.